We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with some new rumors and updates regarding the whole shocking situation right now involving the Fiend Bray Wyatt and his sudden and unexpected release from WWE that took place yesterday. Without question, 2021 has been a year full of shocking WWE releases, including the likes of Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, with Braun Strowman arguably being the most shocking and unexpected release from WWE to occur for quite some time. However, that was surprisingly topped yesterday with the release and firing of Bray Wyatt, one of the WWE's most popular and talented superstars. Now, there's no doubt that most wrestling fans are still speechless and stunned that WWE would go ahead and release such a prominent superstar like the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Because unlike Braun Strowman, which was by all means still a surprise firing, Braun was nowhere near as relevant in the eyes of fans as the Fiend Bray Wyatt was. And besides the likes of Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt was one of the most high-profile full-time stars WWE had on their roster. And while that loss to Randy Orton at WrestleMania 37 and Alexa Bliss turning on the Fiend sort of hurt his momentum a little bit, it cannot be argued that lots of fans felt like when the Fiend Bray Wyatt would eventually return to WWE, he would be brought back into a very prominent storyline, and potentially even challenge for Bobby Lashley's WWE Championship after SummerSlam. There has been so much confusion as to why WWE would release such a big name like the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and the supposed reason of budget cuts, which was given yesterday, simply does not make sense. Because if the WWE were needing to release some stars to save some money, there are plenty of other wrestlers who could have been released for this reason, as the Fiend Bray Wyatt is a truly bizarre choice to save some money, because not only was the Fiend Bray Wyatt one of the WWE's top merchandise sellers, he was quite simply one of their top names that drew in lots of fans to the product, especially on Monday Night Raw, and during a time when WWE's Raw episodes were usually close to being unwatchable, the Fiend Bray Wyatt was one of the only bright spots of the show that kept fans tuning in despite an overall lackluster show. Now, when we look at Bray Wyatt's previous contract with WWE, it's not as if he was earning the caliber of money compared to the likes of Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, John Cena, or other major superstars that earn high seven-figure contracts per year. Because according to a few different sources, the Fiend Bray Wyatt was earning roughly $1 million per year, and while this does seem like a lot of money, to put things into perspective, a primarily mid-card level talent like Jinder Mahal reportedly earns about $900,000 each year, Dolph Ziggler earns a rumored sum of $1.5 million per year, Kevin Owens earns about $2 million per year, and The Miz makes about $2.5 million per year. And while these are pretty big names as well, the Fiend Bray Wyatt has definitely been a lot more high profile compared to these stars, and involved in some of the biggest feuds and rivalries in WWE over the past couple of years, with the Fiend even being the Universal Champion not too long ago. The point being that it just does not make sense to get rid of the Fiend Bray Wyatt when he's so relevant and popular. With there being lots of other stars being paid way more, this should have been considered for a release if the WWE needed to release some more stars for budget cuts. As well, a lot of fans are especially furious with Bray Wyatt's release because WWE recently just had Goldberg of all wrestlers return to the company, a superstar that does cost the WWE a ton of money to partake in a one-time feud with Bobby Lashley for SummerSlam. And WWE also re-signed Eva Marie to a pretty significant contract as well, which a lot of fans feel was a mistake. So it does seem like WWE have not made the best choices when it comes to money, and why of all superstars release Bray Wyatt? One of our sources has mentioned that the release came as a huge shock for Bray Wyatt, and he did not reportedly see it coming. And instead, Bray Wyatt was apparently expecting a call from WWE regarding his return to the company that has been rumored to take place for quite some time, and not his walking papers. Bray Wyatt is apparently quite angry and furious at Vince McMahon for being released out of nowhere, because Bray was looking forward to returning in front of the live fans, and felt he still had so much left to accomplish in the WWE, and not only that, Bray was actually looking forward to coming back after taking a bit of time off to work on some personal issues. However, when we look at history a bit, Bray Wyatt's release from WWE is not that surprising, despite being a major superstar, because Vince McMahon has never been a very big fan or supporter of The Fiend, hence why WWE would always derail Bray Wyatt's momentum at the worst possible times, despite doing so well with whatever storyline he was given to work with a whole Goldberg squashing The Fiend a while back being a perfect example of this total lack of care for Bray Wyatt on Vince's part. Regardless, while this is definitely considered by most fans to be a huge mistake on WWE's part to release the Fiend Bray Wyatt, there's no doubt that Bray Wyatt will be an absolutely massive signing for any promotion, and you can be assured that AEW All Elite Wrestling will be trying to scoop up Bray Wyatt once his non-compete clause with WWE runs up in about 90 days. We have now had about a day for the shocking news of the Fiend Bray Wyatt being released from WWE to sink in a bit, and let us know your thoughts and opinions of WWE firing Bray Wyatt, who really in all honesty is not that big of a financial burden for the company, and do you think that Bray Wyatt is justified for being very upset and angry at Vince McMahon over the surprise release? Or do you feel like Vince McMahon made the right business decision by letting Bray Wyatt go, and that Bray is not that big of a loss for WWE, and that fans may be overreacting? Let us know. While a lot of fans have been very happy to see John Cena back in the WWE following his return to the company at the 2021 Money in the Bank pay-per-view event, where John Cena set his sights on Roman Reigns and the Universal Championship, unfortunately there is a bit of sad news to share regarding the plans WWE have in place for John Cena's return. Now, there had been quite a bit of concern from fans regarding whether or not WWE were even going to be booking a Roman Reigns vs John Cena Universal title match after Roman Reigns bluntly turned down Cena's challenge on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, with Finn Balor then coming out to challenge the head of the table, in which Roman accepted. But last week on SmackDown, we got a bit of clarity about the situation, because after Baron Corbin blindsided Finn Balor, John Cena took matters into his own hands and signed the contract for a Universal title match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2021, and it was revealed that this contract is binding and official, and John Cena will be getting his title match at the biggest party of the summer. A lot of fans also got more excited regarding this match between John Cena and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam when it was announced that John Cena would not be leaving WWE after SummerSlam and instead be sticking around for a while, which not surprisingly gave John Cena's fans some hope that he could be winning the Universal title from Roman Reigns. However, the sad bit of news to share is that WWE reportedly do not plan for John Cena to win the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns, despite staying a bit longer after SummerSlam, because one new backstage report has leaked that Vince plans for Roman Reigns to destroy John Cena at SummerSlam to add even more momentum to Roman's side, and that Vince feels John Cena does not really need another world title reign right now, especially when he is still leaving not that long after the SummerSlam pay-per-view is over. And there is even speculation that Roman Reigns may shock fans at SummerSlam by essentially squashing John Cena, something Vince feels will add a lot of heat to Roman Reigns.